So, hello, hello. I here have Michael Lefkowitz, who has designed a puzzle. I don't want, I want to say he designed it just for me because it feels like it's just for me, but I'm sure that's not true because he does not know me at all, really. But Michael, do you want to introduce yourself and let people know who are you?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So my name is Michael. I'm kind of new on the Sudoku constructor scene. I'm actually a computational linguist. That's my day job and my academic background. But on the side, I've always been making games and puzzles of various flavors. And I kind of discovered variant Sudoku last year and got really into it. So I've put out a handful of puzzles. This one, I think I'm more discovered than created, I would say. You can see there's not very much in the grid, but yeah, we'll see that when you get to it. But yeah, really happy to be here. Thanks for inviting me. It's
Yeah,
really
no, I
cool.
mean, I've done a number of your puzzles. They've all been great. And so very excited to try this. When I mean you sent me this puzzle and I saw the rule set and I was literally like on my way to bed when I got this message. But I just couldn't stop thinking about it. And so actually I already know like a couple things about the puzzle. So I feel a little bad about because it's not normally how this should work. But I've been thinking about this rule set a lot in the past, been like a week maybe, since you sent me this. So
It's awesome. Yeah. Well, as long as you bring your viewers up to speed and they can catch up
yeah,
with
yeah,
your
exactly. So, do you want to explain the rules of the puzzle, or you want me to do it?
Sure, yeah, it shouldn't take very long. So it's a normal Sudoku. Normal Sudoku rules apply. There's a crop key dot. It works the same way as crop key dots always work. It's partial crop key, so there's no negative constraint. And there's a slightly less common rule. So cells in the same position in two boxes can't have the same digit. So if there's a Yeah, exactly. Those have to contain the digits 1 through 9. There can't be any repeats. And then the new rule is this indexing rule where if row X column Y has a Z, you're allowed to take that XYZ sequence and rotate it. So if XYZ is true, row X column Y contains a Z, then it's also true that row Y column Z contains an X. You just shift those digits over by one, and the X loops around to the end.
So
And
maybe
that's true for every digit in the grid.
every cell on the grid, right? So let me try an example. Just like let's say this were a six, right?
So
Then
that's row 2, column 3.
row two, column three is a six, which would mean row three, row three, column six is a two, right?
Exactly.
And row six, it's very hard for me to do this in my head. Row six, column two is a three, something like that.
That's right. So you can think of that as just like instead of saying row 2, column 3 is a 6, you could just say 2, 3, 6, and
Right.
then write the 6 in the right. And it's kind of like a mental shorthand. And then you could say, all right, 2, 3, 6. That
Three, six,
means
two.
3, 6, 2. All right, 3, 6, 2. There's the 2.
Yeah.
And then you can say 6, 2, 3, and there's the 3.
Um, yeah, and this kind of like triple rotation, it really does look like a Rubik's cube. Like the name is very apt, and there's one more thing that I've thought about that I also think is going to make it apt as a Rubik's cube comparison. I like, I mean, I have a couple of Rubik's cubes. I'm like a speed cuber or anything, but I have
Oh, okay.
some of like different styles. Like I have one that doesn't have different colors, but instead has different like sizes of. Um, I should have brought it out here to like show, but
Oh, neat. Okay. Well, I
um,
can imagine. Yeah.
yeah, and then one. So my son, who's five, got one as a present, and it's actually the hardest Rubik's cube I have because it has instead of just monochrome color faces, it has pictures, and what actually makes that a
Oh,
little bit harder is that the center of each has to be in a particular orientation, otherwise it doesn't work. And so I've solved the cube, quote unquote, but the centers were wrong, and so it like would normally look like it's right, but it's not.
yeah. So there should be like 4,096 times as many solutions or as many configurations, I guess, because the
Well,
centers can all rotate,
but
right?
I think not all of them will happen, right? So like you know how in a normal Rubik's cube, you can't just have like
Oh,
one that's rotated, right?
that's right. That's right.
So
So maybe it's only 2048 or something. More.
I don't know what the exact, uh, but like I've known like I'm trying to fix one, it's messed with another one. It's
That's
like
why it's
oh,
certainly harder.
so there's
Yeah.
yeah,
I think I
um,
remember how to two-thirds solve a Rubik's Cube, and that's about as far as I memorized, and I gave up. So
yeah. Well, once you like if you're just going to memorize the beginner solve route, it's like not that. I mean that's what I can do. It's like that.
well, it
That's
wasn't. I just I
yeah.
have terrible memory for those sorts of things. So
Got it.
um,
Um, Well, yeah, like I don't understand the third layer, but like I can do it because which is maybe not so helpful for, life skills. But anyway, so let me talk about. So basically, I've just been thinking about this Rubik's Cube rule, this XYZ indexing rule for the past couple days. And there are essentially two things that I have um, that I've decided are true, and one of them I know is true, and the other one I'm like fairly sure is true, but I need to play with it in the grid to make sure it's true. The one that I'm sure is true is that, and this maybe is too obvious to even say, is that if XYZ implies YZX, then you also get ZXY. It's just like an obvious core. So every digit's going to give you three more digits, and I think we even did that right in the example, right? Is that if this is 6, um, then
Almost every digit you place in the grid is going to place 3 digits in the grid.
right. So it's possible, like if I put a 1 here, then that only places the 1. But
There you go. So there's one exception, right? Which is these certain things
these
in the
corners,
diagonal. Yeah.
yeah. Or I guess yeah, anything on the diagonal, yeah.
Mm, not
Yeah, is
quite.
that not true? Hold on, 333. Wait, not anything on the diagonal? What?
Oh, it depends what you mean by thing. So, for example,
Oh,
if you
sorry,
put
the
a
digit
3,
itself on the diagonal. Yeah. So yeah,
yeah,
if any of these are in the grid, they will not. Which I guess means that there's a multiple of 3 of them, and like this. I guess that's another inference you can make. Uh,
maybe.
I'm not 100% sure about that, but that seems right.
I know the answer to that. But I'll let you know at the end.
Yeah, okay. Including 0, to be clear. Like it could be 0, 0. And the other thing that I have thought about is that, so if you think about like a normal 159 indexing puzzle, you get this pattern. So for the viewers that have not seen this before, it's a fairly common rule to have everything in, say, column 1 index where the 1 is in that row. So if I have, like, say, a 3 here, then that would imply that the 1 is in column 3, right? And a 7 here would imply a 1 in column 7. So in puzzles like that, you need to have one of each group. By group, I mean 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 in the column. So like I can't have 3, 2, for example, here because the ones will conflict, right? So this 3 would imply a 1 is here, and a 2 would imply a 1 is here, and they're going to break. Real quickly, I'm just going to turn off pencil marks. And then, so in a normal 159 indexing puzzle, I need to have, and I don't know that, like, I can go in any order, but I need something from 1, 2, 3, something from 4, 5, 6, and something from 7, 8, 9. So what I think is going to be true here is that that's going to apply in both rows and columns in every box. And I haven't proved to myself that that's definitely true. I think it's true. Like I've thought about it in the context of box 1, and I think it works out. So let me try to explain why I think that's true, and that you can refute or say nothing or tell me.
Well, since you've already tried box 1, let's try it out in some random box, like say box 4 or something.
Because that's what
and
I'm
see
so
if it's
like. First I actually want to confirm that it's true in box 1 because I'm more sure that it's true in box 1, and I'm less sure that it's true in off diagonal boxes.
Let's try one. Let's try an off diagonal box.
Let's
It's a
try an
really
off diagonal.
pleasantly surprising.
Okay. So like, let's say I had a 1 and a 3 in the same uh, row. What would that imply? Well, that's maybe a bad example because it's in row 1. Let's try 2 and 3.
We got a 2, yeah.
So what is this telling you? This, because it's in row 1, column 4, I'm going to be placing a 1 and a 4 somewhere in the grid. So the thing that's important here is that I'm going to be placing 2 1s in the grid based on this 2 and the 3, right?
Mm-hmm.
One of the ones is going to go in, let's see, it's row 1. So to make the placement, I've got to go left kind of. So it's going to be column 2, row 4. So that's a 1, I believe. Did I do that right?
Yep.
Because 1, 4, 2 implies 2, 4, 1, right? Now I also have 1, 6, 3, which implies 3. Oh no, it doesn't work. It doesn't work off diagonal.
No, sorry. I think that's
Did I
not
do that wrong?
quite right. Right. So
Hold
it's
on.
1,
1,
6, 3,
6, 3. Oh, it's 6, 3, 1. 6, 3.
1.
Yeah, no, it does work. Yeah, okay, phew. It does work. So basically the number here, if I have two things in the same row, then the number I put here is going to become their row indexer.
Hmm.
And if I have two and no, sorry, column indexer. Sorry, I never would know what to say. It's going to tell me what column it's in, right?
Yeah,
And
digit's going to turn into the column. Yeah.
yes, and because they're in the same box, they're going to end up in the same box by row at least. Like these are columns 4, 5, and 6, which means they're going to translate to rows 4, 5, and 6. So they're going to be in the same box at least by they're going to be in the same like column box or row box, I guess, if that makes sense.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah.
And if these are in the same grouping, then they'll also be in the same column box. And so I'll end up with
That's
the same,
exactly right.
they'll end
Yeah.
up with the same thing here. So that is, and then the same exact thing for the different reasons can apply in columns.
And they're in the same row, so they're placing the same digit.
Right. Exactly. Because they're in the same row. And if I do it with the columns, so if I do a 3 here, so the 2 is going to be in the same spot, right? And the 3 now, what was this? Is this, well, let's do it up here so I don't say it. So I have 2, 1, 2, 4, 3 becomes 3. Wait, 2, 4, 3 becomes. Oh, there's no 1 here. Oh, but now it's the
Uh,
4 that's the problem. It's the
Now
4
it's the
that's the
4 that's
problem.
going to be the issue. Yeah.
Right.
So
So
we've
where
got
does the 4 get placed here? 1,
1,
4,
4,
2
2
becomes
going to
2, 1,
be 2,
4,
4. That's right.
and
Yeah.
then 2, 4, 3. 2, 4, 3 becomes 3, 2, 4. So that becomes an issue, right? With these in the same
Yep.
column. So okay, now that I've actually like played with it in the grid, I'm like pretty sure, and it seems like you're confirming that uh, the this indexing thing is going to be the 159 trick works in both rows and columns within a box.
Yep.
So
I
those,
think I think the way you said it for a second there was a pretty rigorous proof, right? It was like they're in the same row, so they're going to place the same digit.
mhm,
And they're in the same sort of box from a column perspective, and so they're going to be in the same box from a row perspective.
right,
And if the digits have the same entropy, high, mid, low, then they're going to be in the same box from a row perspective.
yeah,
Sorry, from a yeah, 90 degrees off from whatever I said before.
yeah, yeah.
And so then they'll have to be in the same box, and they'll be the same digit. So you kind of said that like in the middle of your train of thought there, and I think that's actually kind of like a pretty rigorous proof.
Seems good to me. I like it. So let's try to do the puzzle now that I mean I feel like that is probably the most useful beginning. At least, we'll see. I probably need more, but it seems like that is kind of the crux of the puzzle, at least from what I can tell so far. Um, so I mean, there's a dot in box one, so I'm going to start thinking about box one, and then these indexing puzzles. I'm going to try to start thinking about where one. Maybe I should think about. I can't decide whether to think about where one should go or what should go on the Kropke dot.
Hmm.
Um, I'm going to. Oh, uh, I'm going to start with what's on the Kropke dot actually, because that's because of this. Like these can't be in the same entropy group as you said, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So the only possibilities here are 3, 4, or 6, 7.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, that seems like a good place to start. Why? And this can't be 3 because I get ones here. So that's not 3, so that's not 4. And that's not 4 because of disjoint sets. So the disjoint set says
Mm,
these can't both be ones. So that's not a 4. So this is a 6, 7 pair. And it can't be 7s for the same reason, to get disjoint sets.
nice.
So 6 is the first digit here. And now this has to be from the low entropy group. And then I guess I don't know which way the highs go, if they go this way or this way yet. But 8 and 9
Mhm.
are either in those two or those two. And then 4 and 5 are either in those two or those two. Let's think about this, because I know what that is. So what would this imply? If this were a 1, it'd be 1, 3, 1. That would put a 1 here, I think, right? Well, if this is 1, this is 1, 1, 3, 1, which would also imply
Yep.
3, 1, 1, which is that. So that's not a 1. It's probably not a 3 either, right? If it's because it's in column 3. So if it's a 3, we get 1, 3, 3, which would also imply 3, 1, 3, which would be a 3 there. So that's a
Yep.
2.
Nice.
Um, then what? Hold on. So it's 1, no. No, so 1, I get, so maybe now I should think about where can 1 go in this box, or where can, or maybe 3s, because can 3 go here? They'll get the same problem. Oh, no, 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 I should place the digits. That's what I should do. This 6 implies 2 other digits. So this is 1, 1, 6, which puts the ones here. They're kind of already, not there. Right. I'm going to highlight these. It's like a fairly inoffensive and light color. I'm going to highlight these. Oops. I'm going to highlight these when I place them so that I remember that I've done it.
Nice. Yeah.
1, 2, 7. Oh, goodness. So I get a 1 somewhere. 1, 2, 7 becomes 2, 7, 1. So I get a 1 here. And then I get a 2 somewhere. 1, 2, 7 becomes 7, 1, 2. Okay. That's done. And then I get a 2, which tells me, I should tell me a 1 and a 3. So the one's going to be in here, right? 1, 3, 2. 1, 3, 2. Sorry, this is so hard for me. 1, 3, 2 is 3,
Three,
2,
two, one.
1. Okay. Oh, and
Yeah.
that's going to tell me which way this goes. Got it. 1, 3, 2, the 1 there, and I should put a 3 somewhere. 1, 3, 2 is 2, 1, 3. Oh, it's that one. That's the same one. I was thinking this goes here because of the fact that the same
Yep.
entropy group has to be in different rows and columns, but it's actually just also this is like a contained indexing, uh, a contained indexing. But this tells me which way my those index the entropy groups go. So that's 4, 5, and that's 8, 9.
Nice.
Uh, I'm trying to think if there's a problem. This is 2, 2. Do I get it? Yeah, this can't be 5 for the same reason the disjoint sets thing. So when you're how far? Because obviously, like the disjoint set is very important here.
Yeah.
So what how did you like can you give me any insight into like where this came from and how you because like this combination is clearly so potent. It's like how did you figure this out or like come up with it or like what came
Yeah,
first?
yeah.
What is the
I'll
story?
say a little bit, but I don't want to say too much because
There's
it's not
more.
just this set. There's like a lot more tricks.
Got it. Okay.
That you might or might not find during your solve. There were people who solved this, and that's the only trick they found, and they were still able to solve it. So I don't want to spoil too much. We'll see. We'll see what tricks you like come up with as you're solving it, right?
Got it.
But I guess I can say a little bit about the creation process. So I was talking to a friend of mine who's a mathematics PhD.
Okay.
They're actually a software engineer for Google right now, but their background is in math. Yeah, I know them from grad school, and they were thinking about Sudokus as these like three-dimensional objects and what rotation looks like in 3 dimensions. Like that's the name, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And I will say that Latin squares are already very pretty and very symmetrical in this three-dimensional space,
Okay.
and Sudokus are not.
Okay.
And this was kind of bothering my friend, and they're like, "Why are they not symmetrical in three-dimensional space? We need to make them symmetrical." And I'm like, "I can do that with a rule set." And so we played around with this rule set. And there are like tons and tons of weird symmetries that happen. And you've discovered, I think, like the most well, I wouldn't say the most useful one because the others are exactly equally useful, but the most obvious one,
Okay.
which
Okay.
is this rule about like the entropy within a triomino. And it's because of the Sudoku boxes, right? It's like the Sudoku box rule has been rotated into a different space and it has become this entropy rule.
Yeah, I can't visualize that, but I mean, it kind of like I can visualize like what I'm doing, but I can't visualize the three-dimensional space rotation thing you're talking about. Um, but it sounds very cool. I wish I could.
Maybe a bit later in the video. I have some like examples I can share later in the video, so that
Yeah,
might help a bit.
that would be
We'll
great.
circle back to that. We'll
Um,
rotate.
we'll rotate back to that exactly. Um, well, let's think about that. So there, this is 2, 3, so I should get a 2 and a 3 out of this. Um, I guess the 2 is this 2, so it's not that, right? And the 3 is this
Mhm.
3, so it's not that. Same thing here. Oh, I get a 1 and a 3. So that's this one. Yeah, so these aren't. Okay. Um, oh, yeah, but this could go either way. So this can go either way. Interesting. Uh, yeah. I don't think I missed a disjoint set anywhere, right? Okay.
You did miss one.
Oh, I did miss one. 3. Where are my possible threes? None of those. Possible
It's
twos.
one of those. It's one of those.
Oh, what? What did I? Oh, right. Yes. Ah, good, good,
Yeah.
good, good, good. You give me 3 in a corner. So then how is it? That means the 9 is this, right? Wait, hold on. Hold on. What do we say? This gave me the 2 here. So that's the 8.
Hmm. Yeah, I think you can shade everything now.
Okay.
Nice.
All right. We finished a whole box. Good.
You're solving this way faster than I was able to solve it, by the way. So I'm I'm
Well,
very very impressed.
I mean, except that I'm sure that doesn't count. Like, you mean like when you like you had the rule set, you knew it solved, and you're like, let's solve it, and like,
Yeah, like let's just solve it manually. You're actually still going faster than I did, but I think I'm not a very good Sudoku solver, so give a
I
lot
think
more
a lot of
practice than I do.
setters feel that way. So like especially like Marty Sears, I talk to pretty often, and he's like you're a much better solver, and like it boggles my mind because like how do you set this thing without being able to solve it? Like it doesn't make any sense to me. Because like I can't set for anything. I tried setting puzzles, like they're all terrible. So I'm sure you're just not giving yourself enough credit. Um, hold on. What was I thinking about? Um, so now I'm deciding whether to think more about ones, twos, and threes, or if I can do something in box 9 uh, with
Hmm. Mhm.
because like for some reason I felt like the one. I mean, maybe it was just the dot is why it mattered. But like in indexing, I feel like if you're in the corner boxes with its number, like it's easier. Um, so
That
then,
is true. Well, the corner boxes and the middle box are a bit easier for an interesting reason.
okay. Let me think about where nines can go here. Right, obviously it could go here. Um, if I put it in these two spots, I'm going to place a 9 somewhere. I'm going to place it in this box and not on itself. I think. Like if this is 9, that's 799. So that's also going to put a 9 here, right? So I
Mhm.
can't put 9 in those spots. That leaves. Um, if I put it, what happens if I put a 9 there? 889. I get 2 eights there. So the
Mhm.
diagonal ones aren't 9. Um, but this I get an 8 and a 7. This I get an 8 and a 7. So that's going to be okay. And I really want to say that makes this 79, but I know that's not true because I know I could just do 987, something like that. But like it's in the right shape. So I'm like, those are the high digits, but that's not true. Or at least it.
And unfortunately, all those combinations only interact with box 9. So none of what you've done previously in the puzzle is going to help you at all.
Yes, yes, yes. Good point. Good point. Yes. Let's think about ones and twos. I can probably finish ones and twos if I think. So let's see. Ones are here and here, and I'll do the disjoint sets in a second. So not here or here from this one. Not these. Is that it? Yeah, because this is the shape I still need is those 4. So those are my possible ones. I'm gonna get rid of these 9s because I'm gonna regret that later. But I want to focus on ones, twos, and threes. Um, okay, what twos? Twos are like this, but I can get rid of these and these. Is that right?
Mhm.
Okay. Let me see if I can figure it out based on this shape, right? So I'm gonna think that threes are like this would imply something like this. The threes are gonna be like this, I bet. Oh, but not here, I guess. Not something like that. I don't know. Let's do threes. Trying to like call shots and it's not working. So it's these, but not the corners or these. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. Yeah. So not quite what I thought. Oh no, pretty close to what I thought. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
that's a surprisingly good intuition there.
we'll just like following the diagonals kind of because like the if you know one and two, that you know where three goes, right?
That's
In this, so if you know where one and two goes, I know where three goes in the box here too.
well, but they're indexing different boxes, right? Like those, the one and the two in box X are not indexing the three in box X anymore.
That's
That
true,
was true
but
for
oh, I see. But I couldn't have like one. Like I couldn't have. Oh, I could have had this combination. Oh yeah. No, you're right. So my the reason I thought it was completely bogus. I just kind of.
but it turns out to be true
It
because
turns
this
out to
puzzle
be
is
true.
absurdly symmetrical.
Yeah.
So they're
Yeah. Yeah. Um.
like, if you guess there's some pattern in this puzzle, there probably is. Like, it won't be clear why, but it probably will be there.
So I think this can't be one by the same, right? Because I get two fours. So what I noticed before here is that if it's in the same modular group, it's hard to be on a diagonal. Like this couldn't be 4 or 7 because I put ones here, and
Mhm.
this couldn't be 5 because I put twos here in the same spot. So this I thought
Or eight.
one in the
Yeah.
four spots. Yeah, and here, oh yeah. So
Wait, that was really interesting. Hold on, can you say what you said again, but like try to formalize it into like a general rule?
yeah.
Because I think you're like you almost had something really helpful that
Okay.
like we could use later.
Uh, so I'm only thinking about this on the diagonal. So, but my
Yeah,
thought is
yeah.
on the diagonal, I can't put anything that is the same modular group as the position on the diagonal.
A modular group just to make
Sorry.
sure.
Yeah, so like 147 is modular group 258 and
Yeah,
369,
that's right.
right?
Yeah.
So um I noticed
I
that in
think you've
box
also
one.
discovered yeah, and that's because, sorry, let me, why is
Please.
that, right? Just for viewers that are lost.
Sorry, say it again.
Just for any viewers that have lost you, why is that?
Yeah,
It
so
was really interesting.
like in the very beginning, right, when we were thinking about this, I was thinking like, could this be 3 4, right? Like, well, this can't be 4, so why can't this be 4? Because this position, and that's true, going to be true of everyone in the diagonal, but this position is going to place two ones, right? This position is going to place two twos. This position is going to place two threes, right? And so this one that places two ones, it's going to put them kind of in the row or column. It's going to be indexed by whatever number is here. So if I put a 4 here, it's going to put ones here, put a 5 here, ones here. Turns out to be 6, so I get ones here, right? Now, the
Yeah.
problem with it being in the same modular group as the position on the diagonal is that if it's going to end up being in the same relative box position in the two different boxes, right? So if this is a 4, I get 1 in the top left corner both times. If it's 7, I get 1 in the top left corner both times. If this is a 5, I get 2 in the middle both times. If it's 8, I get them in the middle both times. So if it's in the same modular group, oh, I didn't recognize this, but now I think this is true. If it's in the same modular group, it'll end up in the same relative box positions where it is.
Yep, exactly. So it could either be n, where n is the position along the diagonal. Like a 1 in row
Right.
row 1, column 1 equals 1 is fine because it just rotates into itself. But
Yes.
anything else that violates your rule is gonna cause a problem
So
with
that gets rid of 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Okay, but that's really useful here. So now those aren't twos. Ah, those aren't ones. So that's a one.
nice.
And that's not a three. So that, yeah, so this would be 2, 3. Nice. This is so cool. So now I'm gonna figure out what. So this is 7 4. So I get to place a 7 and a 4 somewhere. 4 1 7 and 7 1 4. Is that right? Seems right.
I think that's right.
and then 8, 5. Yeah, so really, because this is 852, so really just along the diagonal, that's a problem. 852, or I hope, or otherwise I broke the puzzle. 852 is 528. 852 is 285. Yeah, I'm starting to visualize this like rotation thing. I mean, I don't know,
Maybe
maybe
your Rubik's Cube background
yeah,
is
it's
paying
really
off.
helping. Yeah. I mean, I think this just like looks nice, and so I'm like tricking myself into thinking I can see something that I don't really see. Hold on. So this is 963, 639. No, that's wrong. 639. 639, 396. Okay. So I get these. Oh, and I can take away some of them. No. And these are 4, 5, 6. Oops. What was this? 2. Um, okay. Is there a problem with 8 in column 8? Is my first thought. So if this is 188, I get 881, which is okay, and 818, which is also okay. I was really hoping that would work. Okay, so 8. So why does that work? Just because it's not on diagonal, I guess. I've been running into problems with like 3s here. Oh, that's because it's indexing in the box, and this will be indexing out of its box.
Mhm.
Like it puts the 8 over here instead of right next to it. Okay,
Yeah, that's why boxes 1, 5, and 9 are
are
really
easier.
powerful.
Got it. Um, Let's try here. So if this were 4, what would that be? 4, 3, 4. So if this is 4, this is 4, and then I get a 3 somewhere. I get a 3 here. That seems okay. Maybe I should look at the disjoint set. So, ooh, maybe not. 4s. Um, Wait, I placed these. Does that do anything on my? No, because that would only work
I think you
across.
can erase a pencil mark, but it's in box 9, but it's not going to help.
It's not
Actually,
gonna.
you can erase a couple pencil marks, but it's not going to help
Yep.
too much.
Yeah. Yeah, but that wasn't disjoint sets. That was just like Sudoku. Yeah, that's the wrong one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we can't do Sudoku in this puzzle. It's
No,
too hard.
that's not what I mean. I mean like, yeah, it just
I'm
was.
teasing you. That's also my least favorite part of doing a Sudoku is doing Sudoku.
Well,
So
it's funny how much more interested I got in Sudoku puzzles, as you're saying, like when I don't have to do Sudoku, right? It's all these like interesting logical puzzles that people are framing inside the Sudoku. Um, like when I was right out of college and like kind of just learning how to code, I tested myself by building a Sudoku solver, and basically since then, it's been like Sudokus are fine, like classic Sudokus, if I'm just like doing a meditative, something. But I generally find them not that interesting. Uh,
well, they've been around for a while, right? Probably like the 80s.
yeah, I don't even know the history. Yeah, I don't even know the history of how that
I
came to
think
be.
so. Magic squares are really old, and I think in
Sure,
I want to say in like the late 1700s or something, someone created like a Latin square puzzle without the boxes.
right.
But they also had some constraints on the disjoint diagonals or the broken diagonals, which are kind of like if you wrap around moving diagonally, you always get a
Yes.
9 cell diagonal.
Yeah.
Yeah, like if you wrap around yeah, you always get 9 cells. So I think they had some constraint on those being 1 through 9 as well. And then they
Mm.
put some given digits. And then that was popular for like a decade or something, and then it vanished. And then I think in the 80s, no, maybe 1970s, 1970s, 1980s, someone invented Sudoku, and it wasn't very popular. But then, actually, they didn't call it Sudoku. It was some really boring name like number puzzle or something in English. And then it took off in Japan, and also with a different name, I think. And then somehow it was re-exported back to England, and then it blew up.
Yeah.
I want to say like in the, I don't know, 90s or 2000s. I forget when that happened, but
Sorry, I'm just trying to think
But it
through.
was super fun for a couple of years, and then I think it kind of it got a little bit boring. But variant Sudoku certainly brought it back.
Well, I mean, and there are ways to make it interesting even for me, right? So um, like the Cracking the Cryptic app that came out, like had a bunch of classic puzzles in it, but they always made you think about things. They basically made you think about two digits at a time, right? And I
Yeah,
think that kind
yeah.
of breathes new life into that puzzle for me. Um, yeah,
It's like how many jellyfishes can we cram into and skyscrapers can we cram into these puzzles? Yeah,
yeah.
it's
I don't like. There's the thing. I don't even know what a jellyfish is. Like I never learned the terms for all these things really.
yeah. I never got good enough to really do the puzzles that required those techniques anyway, the classic
Yeah,
Sudokus. So yeah, little bit too hard for me as well. Good to know about, but I don't like making puzzles that require people to use those techniques because
sure.
it's pretty niche, right? You have to be pretty
Exactly. And
competitively
like
good.
looking for them is hard. Like you just like you're scanning a bunch and like do you find it or not? Like maybe I don't know. I thought I had something where fours like pointed down here, but I don't think that's right. Like this four means this is four. And I was thinking, oh, does that mean this four is broken? But I don't think it is. But I think I need to say it out loud to see. So if this is 3 6 4, we get six. Oh, it is broken. Right? Does this 4 point here? 3 6 4, 3 6 4.
6 4 would be 3. It's pointing at six column 4.
Oh, this is a three.
Yeah,
Three. Yeah, it doesn't break. Yeah, that's what I. Okay.
that's all working.
Uh, okay.
Let me know if you need a hint at what cell to look at. So there's another generalization that I use pretty extensively in my solve that you haven't found. And in fact, a number of people who solve this puzzle never found it. So
Never found it.
it's totally possible to solve it without realizing a bunch of other stuff. But if you do, it makes it a lot
A
easier.
lot easier. Let me give me a couple
Um,
minutes to.
yeah.
I think threes. So where does this go to? This would point to. This would put. Well, it's 4 4 3 3 4. Is that wrong? 3 3 4 4. See, this being a three would make these fours. So these would be like a set here. 4 3 4.
Mhm.
And then this one is 6 4 3. 6 4 3 4 3 6. So this is tied to these two
Yep.
somehow.
Yep.
Okay, what's if this goes here, where's the other one? The other one would be, what do I say? 6 4 3 3 6 4. Yeah, okay. I see. Huh. So it's this or this. But yeah, clearly those both work.
And it makes sense that they all work because there's no there's no pressure on any of them because they're the same thing. And the blue digits you've got on the grid are also all the same thing.
right. Yeah, but I was hoping like some disjoint cell or something would like, I don't know, push it out. But
Yeah, yes.
it
Right.
yeah, it's clearly doesn't work that way. I just so maybe I have to think about like these threes at the same time or something. So if this is three, I get 4 7 3, which puts a four. No, 4 7 3 7 3 4. Oh, interesting. So one of these is four because one of these is four. So that's not four. Is that right?
Sorry, say again.
One of these is three.
Oh,
Um,
I see.
so one of
Yep.
these is four, which means that's not four. Can you do the same thing?
No, that's sorry.
That's not
That's
right.
not. I
Hold on.
think that's right. Let me think for a second.
This three definitely puts a four here.
We've got three threes in that row, though, not two threes. That's
Oh
you're good.
yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, is this the other generalization you're thinking about? Probably not. That's maybe two, but like this idea that the threes in column four are telling about the fours in, sorry, the threes in row four are talking about the fours in column three.
That is true. But they exactly match right now, so
Right, right. So it's not
everything's
helpful. Um,
that's right. Yeah. You can
this,
kind of rotate your pencil marks and your corner marks into center marks and your center marks into corner marks if you
so
so desire.
my ones in column five, talking about the fives in column one. Right, hold on. The five, is that right? The ones,
That's right, actually. Yeah.
that's right. The ones in column five, talking about the fives in row one. So one of these is a five. Is that right? Hold on. Let's just do it. So if this is 4, 5, 1, if this is 4, 5, 1, then we get 5, 1, 4, 1, 1.
Let's just use
This
X. So row X column 5 is a 1.
mhm.
So row 5 column 1 is an X. And X is 4 or 5. So your center
Mm,
mark in row 5 column 1 is the same pencil mark as your corner mark in the cells you just highlighted.
I see.
Like that
Yeah,
center
yeah,
mark
yeah.
is the same corner mark.
This
So
is the
you've
same as
rotated
this.
your corner marks into center marks.
Oh my goodness, that is mind bending. Okay.
Yeah.
Right, I see. This is 4, 6. This is 4, 5. This is 5, 6. Ah,
Yep. Yeah, those are all the same thing. Like you've just rotated your pencil marks and put them somewhere else in the grid.
that is weird. So hold on. Then these are my hold on, my threes. It doesn't work that way. Okay. So
Well, those aren't in the same row, so that yeah, it's going to be more than one.
yeah.
Yeah, so it matches up
Oh,
with
let's
those,
try this
but
one. If this is
yeah.
if ones are oh, where is this get rotated to? 8, 8, 8, 8, 1. Oh, that just can't be a one because those would be eights. No, no, that's wrong. Those would be eights.
Yeah, so in row 8 column something is a 1.
Hold on.
So
Row eight,
column
column something
something.
is a one. So row something, column eight is a one. Row
No, no,
something.
no. 8 something 1. So something 1.
Hold on. Eight, eight something, eight something. I'm like doing it on my hand. Like yeah. Eight something one, something 1, 8.
Yep. So something column 1 is an 8, and it's going to be 8 or 9, right? X
So
is 8
that's
or
these
9 here.
eights, which we already know. That's like
Those
already there.
eights, right?
Oh
And then
no.
also
The sevens
one eight is something, right? We can rotate it again and say that row 1 column 8
is eight,
is
nine.
something.
Which I already have.
Those are all the same, right? You've
Yeah.
got two corner marks, two sets of corner marks, and one center mark, and they're all the same pencil mark.
Uh, that's amazing. That's so cool. But that means that nothing I'm doing is helpful.
Yeah. So yeah. So let me know if you need a hint about like what area of the grid to try out.
um, yeah, so we're an hour in. So for the sake of the viewers, I feel confident that I could get this eventually, but I'm interested in that for sure.
No, these are great things to look at. It's just you happen to be looking at ones that are completely symmetrical, and
Yeah,
so there's no pressure on any of them. Even
yeah,
after you rotate them, there's no
yeah.
pressure. So I'd say like row 2, column 5 might be a good place to look at.
Okay, so this 6, 7, 9. Um, well, this is going to test whether I've actually internalized all these corner marks or center mark stuff. Uh, row 2, column 5, something is row 5, column something 2. Is that right? That's a 7? Hold on.
That's not row. That's not
No,
row 5.
no,
That's
yeah.
row
Yeah, sorry. No, I'm bad. Hold on.
5.
2, 5, 2, 5 something is 5 something 2. I see. So these are 2. So this can't be a 7. It can't be a 7. It's the exact opposite. Right? These are the twos. These are the twos in row 5.
Yep.
And then the twos in row 6 should be, hold on. These are the twos in row 5. These are the twos in row 6, which is 6, 7, 9. Okay. The threes, the threes in column 6 are this, which is not 8. The threes in column 4 are these, which is all 3. Okay. I see. Okay, I'm starting to get this. Um, So I got rid of a 7 here. How does that help? That uh not sure how that helps yet. Because I still have 7 and can I do something with like it's either 4, 5, 6 or 7, 8, 9. If it's 7, 8, 9, that's not 9. So what does getting rid of that 9 do? 4, 1. So the 4, 1, 9.
149 or one
Sorry, yes,
four.
149 would be 4, 9,
Right.
1. 4, 9, but which I already knew. So I could have gotten rid of that anyway. So 4, 9, 1 and 9, 1, 4. So that's not a 4. Hold on, did I do that right? 4, no. 1, 4, 9. It is 9, 1, 4. Yeah, 9, 1, 4. That's right. Um, Hold on. Do these have to be the same or different? Or do I not know? If this is a if this is a 5, that's going to place a 1 and a 4 somewhere. It's going to place if this is 1, 4, 5. Sorry. This must be so frustrating for you. This is 1, 4,
I don't
5.
know. I'm actually trying to remember what the easiest next step is because
That's
like
a 1.
there's always something easy to do next, and I don't
Right.
actually see it right now. So I'm trying to figure it out myself, actually.
1, 4, 5, 4, 5, 1, 5, 1, 4. So if this is 5, this is 4. That doesn't tell me anything about these. So these are just kind of coincidentally. I mean, I'm sure it's not quite coincidental. These are 5/8. I don't know if they're the same or different. Um, I could probably do the same thing here, right? If this is 4, 5, 6, it's 4, 5, 6. If it's 7, 8, no, but I get 2 here. Um, yeah. I'm wondering now if this is just a disjoint set thing that I'm missing. So I get those two, those two. Okay. In column 3, there's definitely a 7 here, but in unknown row. So in row 3, column 7, that's this 8, 9 marking. No, hold on. No. In That's the 7, 8 marking. Okay.
Yeah.
Is there something with um like I'm wondering if this can't be 6 for some reason because of the modularity. But no, that's because this is 3. Um Now I'm trying to think like holistically. If this is 3, 1, 2, then this is 3 uh 3, 1, 2. That's this set. And if it's this set, no, sorry. 3, 1, 2 implies 3, 1, 2. Whereas 3, 1, 2 doesn't tell me exactly how this goes.
Let's see. So
I'm going to try coloring. So if this is 3, these are 4. I'm going to do like a little green or something here. We said if this was 3, we get something like this, I think. Oh no, this doesn't work anymore, right? If this is 3 now, this is 4. No, sorry, 6, 4, 3. 6, 4, 3. 3, 4, 6. 6,
oh, it's been
4,
there the whole time.
3. 6 4 3 comes 4 3 6, which is good. 4 3 6, but 3 6 4. No, that's this is 4. That's fine. Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't think that was resolved.
Yeah. No,
That's
no,
right.
no.
Yeah.
Okay, but something like that.
Yes. What's the most obvious next step? I'm seeing something that's like non-obvious, but it always translates to something that's easier to see. So let me try to do that in my head.
Good luck. Good luck.
I think it's something to do with like 7 in row 2. There might be a different way to think about that. So let's see, 7 in row 2 is going to be 2x7. It's in one of those two places.
So I need a 6 or a 9 somewhere else. So two, yeah, two something.
It's going to have to do with where 2's go. The digit 2 goes in the grid.
Oh,
So
row 2,
2x7
column.
is going to be x7 2. So row something, column 7. Oh no, that lines up with exactly what you have. Sorry.
No,
Um,
hold on. 2x7 is x7 2. Yeah, 6 9
yeah,
is 6
we
9.
know we're right.
But it's also 7 2x. One, 2x7 x7 2 7 2x. So it's 7 5 6 9. So this isn't 5. What do I get from that? And now can I do something? But I knew that from the 4 5 6. This is no longer 6 because
We can also say it's not a 7
this one
by disjoint groups. That's probably the easiest way of thinking about it.
by disjoint groups.
Yeah, because in row 2,
Wait, sorry, which one are we talking about? We're
that
talking about
one,
8
because
3.
you've already got a 7 in that position somewhere in row 2.
Oh, I see. One of these is the 7. Yeah. One of
Yeah.
these is the
I
7. So that's
swear,
row
I'm
7.
I'm sure there's an easier thing to do at this junction, but I'm just focusing on this one for some reason. I
Yeah.
can't see the easier step.
But no, I mean,
There's a
that's,
lot of really solve paths for this puzzle, so I
oh,
don't
I'm
remember this
sure.
particular
I'm
path,
sure.
what the best next step is, but there's probably something more obvious than what we're seeing.
So
That'll
these
that'll do it.
are done. That's not the green one. This one, 8 3 4, 8 3 4, 3 4 8,
For a
4 8 3. Oh, that's useful.
yeah.
Okay. So let me be methodical here. Okay. 5 1 4 1 4 5 8 9 7. Okay, maybe I just should like maybe I should
Just
maybe I
switch
should
to
switch it. Yeah,
Sudoku.
exactly. Um,
Yeah.
like because now I'm it seems like disjoint with all the disjoint rules we know we could probably. So I never figured out your third. I mean, assuming I can solve from here, I never figured out the next
The trick. Yeah.
like yeah, generalization. 4 6 7 9. This is 4 or 9. I probably
Oh,
have the
I have an
7.
easy way to visualize it once the grid is filled out. We can do some coloring once you're done with the puzzle, and I
All
think
right.
it'll
4 4 4 6 5. What do I need here? I need 4 somewhere, which means this is 4 5 6, and then 7 8 9. And then here I get what do I need still? I need a 4 and an 8. So these are from 5 or 6. 5 6. These are from 7 and 9. And then, wow, that really goes fast once you get that spot. Uh,
show.
this needs 4 and 8 also. Okay, 4 8. These are 5 and 6.
Yep.
And these are 9 and 7. Whew.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
I mean, yeah, that would have been tough to spot the 7s leading to the 4 there.
It's gonna haunt me. I swear there's something easier to
I'm
see at
sure
that
there
point.
is. Yeah.
I'll
It's
have to go
just
back and find out what it is.
Yeah. I mean, and you said it, so I don't feel so bad for not seeing it either.
No, not at all. I would have gotten stuck if I did that path too. Yeah. Um,
So
I'll
let's
let you know if what the easier stuff was.
tell me
So let's
some coloring.
let's do some coloring. I
Yeah.
mean, you can probably think of some ways we could color the grid based on things like uh mod 3 and entropy and so on. And I think if you just pick some way, you're going to see something interesting.
Uh,
So like what way should we color the grid
like
first?
like if I color 6 3s and 9s or something, like what is it
Yeah, let's
better?
try that.
Oh, I see. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. Sorry for the bright colors, but uh, so um, this is a pattern I've noticed in disjoint set puzzles generally, is that you very often, no, sorry,
You
not
get
disjoint
roping.
set puzzles, consecutive, non-consecutive puzzles, right? I find that in
Mm,
non-consecutive puzzles, you will often get roping, and I cannot figure out because it isn't. I mean, you can't prove that that non-consecutive gets there because it doesn't always get there.
I
But
don't think it always does, but I
right,
could see why it would be more likely. Yeah, that's really interesting.
so I've noticed that happens a lot. But I mean, clearly here, so the rotations are like as you go down, we're kind of rotating to the left. Each of these. I mean, you can think of that a bunch of different ways, I guess. But is that right? Like these are. Is it that as you move down, they're rotating to the left, or is something? I mean, it's probably something like this rotates to here. No, it's not obvious to me why this is happening. This rotation down.
Yeah, so the reason it's happening, I can talk more about this like with a spreadsheet I want to show in a little bit. But well, one thing that's interesting here is it breaks the column row symmetry, right? We have the roping in the in the column direction, but not the row direction.
Right.
But I will say that if you remove the crop key dot, there
Yeah.
are 12 possible grids for
Okay.
this rule set. And
Probably half
well,
column and half row.
four of them have the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 along the diagonal, and 8 of them don't have
Ah,
any of
okay.
those, which is another weird fact, right?
Yeah.
But half of them have vertical roping, and half of the solutions have horizontal roping. So you're going to get roping in one of the two directions.
Right.
And I think this is the reason why. So here's the other generalization I wanted to make. So if you look at cells that are 3 steps apart in any direction, so like row 1, column 1, yeah, like those, for example, just those three, right? They're all going to be different values mod 3. And that's true in the column space as well. If you look at any 3 cells that are 3 apart, column wise, they're always going to be different mod 3. So that's the other trick that I kind of used extensively during my own solve.
Let me think about why that would be true. So,
Yeah, why is it right?
uh, these all have to be different digits mod 3. So what is this telling me? This is telling, well, let's try one that isn't like in a weird diagonal space. So this is telling me where six and a five are.
Yeah, let's think about the 5. Let's think about the 5s because they all place a 5.
Ah, yeah, they all place a five, right? Um, and they're in different boxes. Ah, and they're in different boxes. That's why. So I'm placing a five in different boxes. So this one is placing, which one is this placing? This is placing it in um, column 5, 3. So it's 3 something 5. So it's placing this 5.
It's that 5, yeah.
This is placing this 5. And then, so it's not what I thought actually. I was thinking that these three would all be like they'd have to be in different modular groups because they'd all be like seeing each other, but that's not quite right. So it's 5, and this one places this 5. So why do those 5
Yeah,
have to be in different modular groups? Like, why couldn't this one be here?
because it would violate the disjoint groups rule.
Yeah. Cool.
And
Yes.
the way to think about this is they're all placing 5s because they're all in the same column.
Yeah.
They're all placing a 5 and they're placing them in different boxes. Now, if two of your purple cells are 3 steps apart or 6 steps apart,
Mhm.
then they're going to place it in the same relative position in the box in terms from a row perspective.
Right.
And if they're 3 steps apart in terms of the digit value, they're also going to place it in the same position cell in the box
From a
from a
column
column perspective.
perspective. Yes.
And now we break the disjoint groups rule.
Yes.
So when you rotate the disjoint groups rule from row column space, like no, you can't have the same digit in the row column space in the same place in the box.
Hmm.
You rotate rows and columns and digits, like with the XYZ rule, you get mod 3 lines in these weird disjoint dotted.
Ah. Wait, no, you just get mod 3 lines in every row and column, right? Or do you
Uh,
also get it in a just weird disjoint thing?
hold on a second. Well, the rule only basically is going to say that if you take 3 steps or 6 steps, they have to be different mod 3. There might be like an emergent property where it ends up that every row and column happens to also be a mod 3 line. I think that might be true as well. Let's color it. Let's color it. So can we color things by mod 3 instead of by entropy? Just the whole grid. So
Like what I had
can we
before,
do?
like 6 threes and nines?
Oh, sorry, color it by entropy. Excuse me, and then we should be able to see
Mod 3.
color by mod. Yeah, color by mod 3. Or
Not.
no, color by entropy so we can see the mod 3 lines. It's all kind of, yeah, there we go.
So they're in rows but not columns.
We don't. We get a,
Which makes sense because the disjoint says, yeah, you only get it in one direction because hold on. In my head that made sense for a second, but now I'm not sure. The disjoint rule says the same digit can't be um in the
same place in 2 boxes.
same place in the same modular space in both rows and column.
That's right.
Which, and if you rotate that, what it says is if you have something that's the same, it's the same modular space in row or column, it can't be the same digit. No, this, I can't do it. I can't do
If you have
it.
something in the same, if you have something in the same row, the column index and digit value can't both be
Yes,
the
there you go.
same.
There you go. In the same modular group.
Yeah, because if they're rotating it, it's saying if it's the same digit, the index, the row index and column index can't be the same mod 3.
Right.
If we rotate it, means if it's the same row, then the column index and digit value can't be the
There
same
you go.
mod 3.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
And so is it true then that in the like symmetric solutions of the four where the roping goes horizontally, that the mod 3 lines go vertically?
I am like 95% sure that's true, but I would need to
Yeah, then you have
check.
to check it. Yeah. All right.
I'm like almost certain that has to be true. But I'm not 100% certain.
Okay. Um, Michael, why don't we cut for a second and then you want to set up whatever you have and we can, or unless we kind of already have done it.
Oh no, we already done half of it, but I think I've got like a couple more interesting things to
Yeah,
say.
that'd be
We
awesome.
actually covered a lot of it naturally, which is really cool. But there's just like one more way of thinking about Sudokus or Latin squares and then also Sudokus as 3-dimensional objects, which we've already kind of hinted at a little bit. And it's like in the title of the puzzle even. But I think there's like a nice visualization. So yeah, maybe I can share that for just like 5 or 10 minutes.
All right, so I'm handing control over to Michael on the screen, and you can show us the cool math behind this puzzle.
Yeah, so I was kind of preparing to show the cool math on a 9x9, and I realized that's a lot. So let's just look at a much simpler puzzle with the same principle. So here's a 4x4 Latin square. So Latin square is a Sudoku with no Sudoku boxes, right? So just numbers can't repeat in a row or column. And Latin squares have this beautiful symmetry. So here's a Latin square puzzle. You could think about filled grids, but I just for fun, I've just provided some givens. So we could solve this, right? It's a very, very easy puzzle. So there's like a 1 there. Hopefully I
Two,
can
two,
solve this. I
two.
haven't
Yeah.
2. There's a 3. The 2s should be placed. The 3s should be yeah, there's a 3 there. There should be a 3 there, right? There's a 4. Hopefully that's right. Yeah, solution's correct. Good. Okay, so we can think of this. We can think of this in a couple ways. So one is that like every digit in the solution, and there's 16 of them, is kind of a point in 3-dimensional space, if you will. It has a row index. So for example, let's look at this one. This one is row 1, column 2, and its value is 3. And so we could kind of represent this puzzle as like a big spreadsheet. So for example, switch these back. Row, column. Getting ahead of myself. Okay, so row 1, column 1 is digit 1. You can see that in the puzzle. And row 1, column 2 is a digit 3. And there's going to be 16 of these, right? And what's kind of neat about Latin squares is that these columns are all basically have the same properties. There's going to be every time there's exactly one of each of these pairs, right? So if you pick a row and you pick a column, it's going to happen exactly once in my spreadsheet. So if you pick like 2, 3, there's going to be exactly one row in my sheet with a 2 here and a 3 here. And that's because there's only one digit. There's exactly one digit in every row column pair. So every row column pair is represented exactly once, all 16 of them. But it's also true for every row digit pair, right? Like pick a row, I don't know, 3, and pick a digit 4. You're never going to see 3
in different
anywhere else.
columns. Yeah.
And that corresponds to the rule that
You can't repeat a digit.
each row only has each digit once.
Yeah. Or yeah.
Like each row 3 can only have one of the digit 4. So there can never be a 3, 4 somewhere else in a different column. That would be against the Latin square rules. And similarly, column and digit, you're going to see. So we could sort this, right? We could sort this sheet by column, then by digit. And in fact, we can just randomly substitute these labels if you want. So like whatever, this is now, I mean, this is well, let's do the XYZ rule, right? So row, column, digit, X, Y, Z. Yeah, let's just do it that way. So like column, digit, row. This is also a Latin square puzzle. And in fact, if we keep the givens the same, we can generate another Latin square. I did that. So here's the original Latin square puzzle, and it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 givens. If you just take the givens and rotate them this way, you get this Latin square. It's the same puzzle. It's got the same 5 givens. They're just, well, it's not the same digits, right? Like one, for example, in this one, there's 2 1 givens, and in this one, there are not 2 1 givens, but there are 2 givens in row 1.
Right.
Which means there's going to be 2 1 givens in this puzzle. But this puzzle is equally solvable, and in fact, it's pretty much the same difficulty. Like, well, I won't bother to solve it, but like, you can solve it and you'll get the rotated solution. And every time you have a classic Latin square with some givens, you can rotate all of them, and you get another classic Latin square with the same number of givens. Basically the same solve path. That's kind of neat, right?
That is neat.
But you'll notice, one thing you'll notice, oops, I killed my solution here. But let's solve this one actually. Let's solve this one because I have a point to make about it. So 2 goes there, 3 goes there, 4 goes there. 4 is here and here. 3 is here. Oops. 3, 3, 2, 1, 1, 2. Wait, is this a Sudoku? Oh shoot, this is also a Sudoku. I was doing it for not be Sudoku. So this original one is also a Sudoku. Like it has these 4x4 regions. I just like picked some random givens and hoped that it would break, but it didn't break. So this is a Sudoku, but the rotated version of a Sudoku is not always a valid Sudoku.
Do you want to rotate it again and see if it breaks the Sudoku?
Yeah, let's well no, if we rotate it a third time, like again, it'll also be valid. But there are Sudokus, there are puzzles that are valid Sudokus, or sorry, that are valid Sudokus when you start with, but when you rotate them, they're no longer valid Sudokus. And that's the reason for that is that the Sudoku boxes place an additional constraint. And let's think about what those constraints are. Actually, so actually, before I do that, one more point. So you can think of this puzzle, not the Sudoku, just the Latin square, as a 2x2 puzzle, like a 2-dimensional puzzle, like a 4x4 puzzle in 2 dimensions with digits. But you can also think of it as a 4x4x4 cube with points, right? So these are the dimensions, column, digit, row, and a 1, 4, 2 means there's just a dot, like a single dot in position 1 in the column dimension and 4 in the digit and 2 in the row dimension. So you can imagine a clear cube, right? A 4x4x4 cube. And it's got points in it, like a scatter plot. And that's your Latin square. That's your 4x4 Latin square. Or another way of thinking about it is this. So imagine you took this one and you lifted it off the screen to position 1. And then you lifted this one 3 steps off the screen towards your face to position 3. And you lifted this 4 steps off the screen towards your face. And now you can convert all of the numerals into dots.
Yep.
Right? And you've got a cube that you're kind of holding in front of you. Like this one's levitating 4 steps above the grid. Right? Okay, so what's cool about this cube is you can turn the cube around and you still have a Latin square puzzle.
Right. I mean, it doesn't violate anything. Yeah.
Yeah, they're all the same. And in fact, another way of thinking about it is if you look at the cube head on from any dimension, you're going to see 16 points.
Right.
Right? So like imagine we lifted these off of the screen. You lifted this to sort of levitating 3 steps above the screen. Clearly, from this dimension we're looking at it, there's one dot in each of these 16 spaces. But if we turn the cube around and look at it from the side, that would also be true. There'd be 16 dots, one in each position.
It's like
So when you
those,
flatten the cube, right, it
yeah,
turns into a grid that's completely full of dots.
it's like the opposite of those arts installations where like you look at it from one side, it's just like a bunch of dots hanging, like right, and you look at it from one side and it's like a duck, and you look at it from over here and it's like a city of Paris or something. You know what I mean? Maybe you haven't seen
Yeah.
this.
Or it's exactly like one of those installations, but what they've decided to represent is a square in every
Right.
direction. A really boring version of that
Yeah.
art installation. So that's kind of how I think about these as 3-dimensional objects, right? They're just like a set of points of 16 points in 3D space, not a set of like 16 digits in 2D space. And they can rotate. But Sudoku boxes mess everything up. Let's just switch to 9x9 because it's going to be the same. So this is in fact the puzzle we just solved. So row 1, column 1 happens to be a 6. But there's this additional Sudoku box constraint. So the constraints we already talked about are every row column pair has exactly 1 digit. So this can only appear once, each of these. And then every row digit pair can have only 1 column, and so on. What do Sudoku boxes do? How do we describe what they do? Let's highlight a Sudoku box. So that's going to be like
1, 2, and
that's
3
going to be 9
rows,
cells,
4,
right?
5, and 6
So
columns.
these where's my highlighting going? Yeah, so let's highlight it. So let's say row 1, 2, and 3, and columns 4, 5, and 6. So this is going to be box 2.
Yes.
Just highlighted box 2, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, this is box 2. What do these have in common? It's really hard to see right now what they have in common. They don't have rows in common. They don't have columns in common. What they have in common is that the entropy of the row is the same in all of these.
And the column, yeah.
And the entropy of the column is the same in all of these. So to make that a little easier to see, let's represent this not as 3 numbers, row index, column index, digit index. Let's represent it as 6 numbers. So we're going to split row into the grouping low, mid, high, which is going to be this number. So this is 0 is the low grouping, and then that's going to be rows 1, 2, and 3 are all going to be the kind of low entropy rows, and then rows 4, 5, and 6 are going to be medium entropy rows, and then rows 7, 8, 9 are going to be high entropy rows, right?
Yep.
And then the other component of the row is its mod 3 value. So this is actually mod 3 value minus 1, so I can use 0, 1, and 2 again.
Sure.
Let's not worry about that. There's 3 mod 3 values, right? Yeah. 0, 1, and 2. And so everything, yeah, right. So now we can actually see that pattern much more clearly, because what are these? These are all of the cells that have, well, it's this, right? These are all the cells that have a 0
Yep.
and a 1 in these positions. All and only those cells. There's no others like that. There's exactly 9. And you can see that they contain the set of digits 1 through 9 exactly once. Right? And yeah. So here's yet another way to look at that. So here there's like a 6 now instead of a 3-dimensional cube, a 9 by 9 by 9 cube, we really have a 3 by 3 by 3 by 3 by 3 by 3 hypercube in 6 dimensions.
But there's fewer, like there were 9 rows before, but now there are only 3 entropy rows.
There's only 3. So
right,
now it's like a Rubik's cube because it's 3 by 3, but it's not 3 by 3 by 3. It's 3 by 3 by 3 by 3 by 3 by
Right. So it's
3.
more dimensions, but fewer options in each dimension. So you have the same it's the same size object in some sense.
Yeah, no, that's right. So now how can we think about all the constraints that we've got in a Sudoku? So let's switch views again here. So these are the 6 dimensions. So I'm calling this a trit. Like the trit 1 is the entropy low mid high, and trit 2 is value mod 3. So it's almost like we're representing the row as a number in base 3. Instead of representing it in base 10, where we can say row 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, we're representing it in base 3. So it's a 2-digit number. Maybe starting with 0, but it's a 2-digit number for the row. And these are the 6 dimensions, right? So how can we represent all the constraints in a Sudoku? Well, the constraints in a Latin square still apply. So the way I'm going to represent that is by circling these two. These kind of have a special relationship. And what's the relationship? The relationship is that if you erase this information from one of these data points, you erase, these 2 columns. Like, let's just gray these out. Just gray these out. These are gray. The remaining dimensions, these are all going to be unique. We can never get any repeats. Because everything would be the same except the row. That's not allowed.
Right. Right.
So it's almost like, right? So these are kind of have the special relationship that the remaining 4, when you erase these, you can never get repeats. Like if I just cross this out, these always have to be unique in my entire set of 81 points.
Yep.
And the same thing's going to be true of column, right? If I erase the column, I can never get any repeats from looking at the row and digit perspective. And if I erase the digit, obviously I can never get any repeats from row and column perspective because there's only one thing in every row column pair. But the Sudoku boxes, let me just make sure I get this right. Yeah, they're saying that if you erase the value mod 3 of the row and column indexes, you also can't get any repeats in this leftover L-shaped region, like Tetris L thing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's because that would mean there would be 2 of the same digit in the same Sudoku box.
Right.
But you can see that I can't rotate my rows and columns and digits anymore because it wouldn't be a valid Sudoku necessarily.
Right.
Like this completely breaks that beautiful 3-dimensional symmetry where you're just allowed to like look at your Latin square from different angles. That's not going to work anymore because if I rotate this, now I'm going to have a different constraint. So what I've done with the rule set with my puzzle is I've said, no, you have to be able to rotate it. Like we're going to fix the symmetry. Sudokus are terrible and asymmetrical in a way the Latin squares are beautiful. We need to make Sudokus beautiful again. And so by requiring that you can rotate it and still have a valid Sudoku, what have I done? I've drawn a circle around these and said this upside down L has to be another thing it's unique across all points. And then also actually, since you can rotate it again, this is really ugly, sorry. That you can take out those 2 points and this remaining Tetris block. Yeah, the T the T quadramino or whatever it is, tetramino, yeah. Has to be unique for every point. Okay, but then let's not stop there. Disjoint groups. What is disjoint groups? Disjoint group circles these 2 dots because it says that if you remove the information about what box you're in, right? These 2 trits are enough to tell you the position in your box. We just don't know what box we're in, right? We're in like 3 cells over and 2 cells down in our box, but we don't know which box we're in. But it doesn't matter. These aren't allowed to repeat. We can't have the same digit and the same box position. But now that you have the XYZ rule, that means that these are also circled and these are also circled. So we actually have like a triangular prism. We just kind of like there's these 6 dots, right? And the lines are the circles I've drawn. So we end up with this like triangular prism, like the kind that you put on your table and there's a rainbow coming out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so that's probably enough math, but I thought that was kind of fun to.
The triangular prism is like you're thinking there's 2 triangles because you have 2 sets of 3. Is that effectively like, and so you could just represent it a different way?
I'm just saying each of these is one of the dots up here.
One of the points.
Instead of circling it, which is super messy, I've just drawn a line between them. If you can erase those 2 dimensions.
Yes.
And yet another way of thinking about this, if you like thinking in high dimensions, right, is that we have Just like I said that we could, this is sort of a three-dimensional cube, but if we erase one of the dimensions, then we get a perfect set of 16 digits, you know, a perfect square of dots.
Yeah.
If you look at it from one of the angles, right? That's like projecting a three-dimensional object down to two dimensions. This way, you can also say that there's a six-dimensional object, and we're going to project it down to four dimensions by erasing certain pairs.
Yes.
And when we project it down to four dimensions, it becomes a 3 by 3 by 3 by 3 tesseract Rubik's Cube thing. And that will always be completely full. That 3 by 3 by 3 by 3 hypercube will be completely full of points if we like look at it from a direction in six-dimensional space. And which pairs are we allowed to erase? We can erase the rows, we can erase the two column trits, we can erase the digit trits, but we can also erase these two or these two. That's like the disjoint groups and its rotations. Or sorry, that's the Sudoku boxes and their rotations. We can also erase these two, or we could erase these two, or we could erase these two. And that's the disjoint groups constraint and its rotations.
Where does the number 12 come from? 12 being the
Yeah,
number.
I don't know. I don't know. It's really weird. So there's four puzzles. Like I said, there's four puzzles where the diagonal, the long diagonal, is the numbers 1 through 9 in that order. And then there's 8 where none of those cells have those values.
Mhm.
And I believe you can prove that as well. That like either the long diagonal has to be completely full or it can't be. But I don't have that proof in my head. I think
Oh,
my
so
friend.
that's more restrictive than I thought. I thought you could have 3 and it might still work.
Yeah, I thought so too. I thought so too. But so my friend Ash Malishev is the one that I was collaborating with this on, and they said that they have a proof of it, but I don't understand the proof yet. So anyway, yeah, that's all I got. There's probably more stuff to say about it, but oh, one last thing. One
Yeah.
last thing. Actually, if you look at the puzzle, well, you don't have your screen up, but if you look at the puzzle, the long diagonal is really special. So as you noticed, things can't be the same. It can't be the same mod 3 as their position on the diagonal, right? It also can't be the same entropy as their position on the diagonal.
So for
Because they put two
example,
digits.
you couldn't have a 4 and 5 5. Yeah, you couldn't have a 4 and 5 5 because that would place 2 5s in the same box.
That's right.
Yes. But I think
So
we
it's
ended up
constraining
using
both
that.
ways.
I think we ended up using that in box 9, right? To show that 9s couldn't be on the diagonal in that box except for in 9 9. I mean, it didn't end up being useful, I think. But I was like, when I was looking for 9s in box 9.
It could be. It could be. So you kind of used it. Yeah, I think you kind of used it at points. So like this cell, for example, it can't be 456 for the reason you said, which is that
Well,
it
it can be
places
5.
two digits. Oh, sorry, it could be 5, right? It can be exactly
Yeah.
5. That's right, because then it's just completely self-rotating. In fact, one way of thinking about that is, I was talking about this 3D cube with points in it, right?
Mhm.
If we stand the cube on its tip and sort of spin it, right? We put it on one of its points, like we're gonna spin it like a top.
Yeah.
We have three-way symmetry in this puzzle.
Hmm.
Like if you imagine a Rubik's cube on its point, you can spin it twice, right, and get 3 times and get back where you started. That's the symmetry we've got. And so these numbers, these may or may not be points in the transparent cube we're talking about, right? But if
Right.
they are, they're on the axis that we're spinning the top.
Hmm.
They're
So
straight through that long.
yeah. So what's become clear to me is that you can't, for example, have like let's say you had 5 in the middle, right? You could not
Yeah.
put 4 6 along the bottom of the top right diagonal to make because like you have to put the same entropy groups on a diagonal of the box, right? So you couldn't do it that way because if you put that would put 2 6s in the same box, I think, right? Like if you put a 6 and 4 4, uh,
Wait, which I think it's this diagonal,
no,
right? I think it's true for
that would
one
be
of the.
okay. You could do 4 5 6 that way, right? And then you end up with everything on the diagonal that way. But you couldn't do it the other way. Whereas like try putting a 6 in, for example, 4 6.
Okay. This is probably true, but I didn't realize this. Okay, so that's yeah. So then that's 4 6 6. So it should be 6 6 4, right? and there should be a 6 here. Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's right.
So, but what's not, so that is one part of the proof I think you need to get that you can't have
Well, the way
exactly
I was thinking
three.
about that is that there can't be a 4 here. I was just thinking about it as this about this digit rather than these digits, but it's two sides of the same coin. It's three sides of the same coin. Um,
Yeah,
so like this can't be a 4 because it's the same entropy as its position on the diagonal, which is position 6.
yeah, sure.
And so it's two of the same digits. But it also can't be the same mod 3 as its value on the diagonal, which is 6. So this could be unless it is 6 itself, right? So let's say it's 9, right?
Right.
That's going to place a 6 in these two places, which is going to violate disjoint groups.
Yeah.
And if it's a 3, it's going to put 6 in
is
these two
there.
places.
Yeah. So
this, yeah, unless it's self-indexing, this can't be 4, 5, 6, and then this can't be 3, 6, and 9, or it can be 3 and 9.
yeah. So the only thing I get, so going back to whether or not why you can't have three kind of like self-referential spots on the diagonal is that so
Right.
like
That would be like 4, 5, and 6 are here, but maybe these are
but then
like,
those
I don't know,
aren't
1,
right. So it would have to be like that. So I don't know why you couldn't do something like that, but I believe that you can't.
2. And this would have to be sort of like 7, 8, 9 or something. Yeah, I don't know why you can't do this, but
Well,
no, it
does
doesn't
it
work.
have to be true that the diagonal has to be the digits 1 to 9? I don't. It might for reasons I don't understand, but it's not obvious to
It
me.
probably is.
Yeah,
I don't know. I have no idea. That might be true, actually. That would be another theorem to prove.
yeah,
There's a lot of theorems you can prove about this just because it's so absurdly symmetrical.
yeah.
But I do like the metaphor of like standing your transparent Rubik's cube with dots. It's not really Rubik's cube. Standing your transparent 9 by 9 by 9 cube with dots in it along its diagonal and spinning it. You
Yeah,
get
yeah, yeah.
this galaxy shape, right? And I think that constrains a lot of stuff about the diagonal.
Yeah, diagonal's wild. All right. Well, thanks, Michael, so much for not just the puzzle, but also the complicated math behind it. Hopefully, people. I feel like I have a little bit of the intuition behind it. Certainly not all of it, but it certainly was helpful. So, thanks for coming to share.
Yeah, for sure. It's been lots of fun. I'm glad this one was like solvable by humans. I was very worried that it would technically have one solution, but it'd be completely and utterly impossible. But people have taken different approaches to it, which is really neat to see. So it was great to watch you solve it live.
Yeah, I speaking of saying that, I one time tried to craft a puzzle where basically the idea was uh, there's like a secret grid behind the grid where the secret grid is whatever the number in the grid is plus its row and column number, about 9. Uh, and so like, and there are like, I mean, there are lots of solutions to that puzzle. So you had to add a bunch of like property clues to it. But it ended up being way too hard to like manage both those grids at once. So I think like one person solved it. Anyway, but
That's a
so
really cool idea. In fact, it sounds like it might have some of the same kinds of like symmetries.
it,
Not exactly the way it is, but as this
yeah,
puzzle.
I mean, there are way more than 12 there because I searched I used, a program to figure out how many combinations there were. And I don't remember the number, but it's a lot more than 12. But yeah, there are definitely some dimensions of symmetry there for sure. But anyway, this isn't about that puzzle. So I hope I am very excited that you came on, and I hope you want to come back with another puzzle. You're definitely welcome.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for having me.
All right. Well, thank you for coming. Thanks everyone for watching, and I'll see y'all next time.